Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Adventure Seeker Sarah Show. Coming to you live today without an introduction video from my phone, from the road. I'm going to keep my eyes on the road while you keep your eyes on us. But I can't even blame my producer because I picked the date and time. But of course, I scheduled my show for Friday evenings, which is my busiest evening. So I'm on the road with some of my girls. And today we're going to talk about some of our travel memories because we're about to go on another trip again. We're headed to Nova Scotia soon, and we always have lots of fun there. And that's not the only place we go regularly, but it's one of the ones that we visit a lot because, of course, we have family there. So I think for me, my favorite thing to do in Nova Scotia, aside from see our family and find all of the brand new things to do in downtown Dartmouth, which is a very exciting place for me. My two favorite things about going to Nova Scotia are going down to my uncle's house in Lawrencetown and kayaking out to the Sand Flats and going clam digging. So that's always something I really look forward to. So spring and summer in Nova Scotia is great for me for that reason. And then also another thing that I look forward to in Nova Scotia is going to downtown Dartmouth. Now, if you live in Halifax, Dartmouth, that might feel like a strange thing to say, but I love Dartmouth, the dark side. And they just seem to keep growing bigger and bigger and putting more and more cool things in downtown Dartmouth. And the one gem that I've talked about lots of times, but I want to reiterate because I love it so much, is the downtown Dartmouth Art Walk. Now, they have a whole bunch of murals and things that you can see during the day, but in my opinion, at night is where it's at because there's a great big neon mural. There are a couple of LED installations. It's really a fantastic place to go and just explore art, but also if you're into social media, it's a really good Instagrammable spot. So Nova Scotia, here we come soon, and I'm very excited about that for an array of reasons, but those are two of my favorite Nova Scotia memories. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to pass the phone around the car, and I have Lily, Rosalie, and Dahlia here, and they're all going to tell you their favorite memories from Nova Scotia, or the things that they look forward to when we go there. I'm going to get Lily to take the phone off the mount, though, because I need my hands to drive. Just pull this. There we go.
All right.
Lily's turn. So what is your favorite memory from Nova Scotia, or one of them, or some of them? Like, let's each do one so that we're not taking up all the fun things in Nova Scotia.
All right. Well, I mean, my favorite thing to do while I'm in Nova Scotia is definitely see family. That's a lot of the reason why we go there. And I also really enjoy kayaking near my Uncle Michael's house.
Yeah, I really do look forward to the kayaking. It's pretty
fun
awesome.
every time.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in a while, so
no,
nice.
But we definitely will this time because Uncle Michael has taken the week off, so we'll get out there to kayak. All right, why don't you pass the phone back to Rosie? What do you think, Rose? What is one of your favorite memories from going to Nova Scotia?
I think one of my favorite memories is well, I can't really say the same thing as everybody else. So I really enjoy I actually really enjoy like going down to my great grandmother's house every day because we get to spend time with her, and it's kind of like we would be staying with her as well. So it's kind of nice to see her a lot. And I love when we just drive and go on random adventures. It's fun.
We do a lot of that when we're in Nova Scotia, and it's awesome.
My favorite part is like when we go on those like little mini adventures on our own. Like it's really fun.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Do you remember what you did on your mini alone adventure?
I remember we went to this museum thing.
Yeah,
and
Canadian House.
And we ate at this really good like little restaurant right near it. And we also went after that to the beach and then to the really cool playground.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like you guys had fun.
I forgot that the playground was on your adventure too. That's right.
That's true, yeah, because it was me and her and Lyndon.
Yeah, well, why don't you pass the phone back to Lily? I'm going to just let people know what we were talking about there. So the museum that Dahlia was talking about is the Acadian House Museum in Chesapeake, and if you're already going to Lawrencetown, it's not too far beyond there. So Lawrencetown Beach is where we went, and also to Acadian House in Chesapeake, which has a little tea room there that has a bunch of authentic Acadian food as well. So that was a really cool little side adventure. And because it's a little bit outside of Halifax and Dartmouth, not a lot of people know that it exists, but it's a great little museum. So the next thing I would like to talk about is I'm gonna transition into amusement parks, because that's something that we do as a family so often. And because we're talking about Nova Scotia, I'm going to talk about 2 Nova Scotian amusement parks first, and then we'll see what the girls think. I mean, of course, we've been to like Disney World, and that's great, but there are a lot of smaller amusement parks too that are awesome. So last year we went to Atlantic Splash Adventure. That's what it's called, right? It used to be Atlantic Playland.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was pretty awesome, because they have an amusement park that also has a little area for like preschoolers essentially, and then they also have their water park. So that's a pretty cool adventure. That's out in Hammonds Plains in Nova Scotia, so just a little bit outside of Halifax, Dartmouth, and that's a great adventure. And then down in the valley, down in the Annapolis Valley, we have Upper Clements Park, and the girls have only been there once. We went many years ago, but I have been there dozens of times, because that's, that was our fun thing to do when I was a child in the summer. I'm from Nova Scotia, in case I haven't mentioned that before, which I'm sure I have 1,000 times. But those are pretty high on the top of my list for different reasons, mostly for nostalgia's sake for me, but also relate to Nova Scotia and are one of my favorite Nova Scotia memories. So what about you guys? So in terms of amusement parks, like we do that a lot. That's something that we do as a family quite frequently. And we actually recently had talked to friends who have never been to an amusement park, and that comes up over and over. But you guys have been to literally dozens. We'll start with Lily again. What was your favorite amusement park adventure? I should probably put the phone on you.
In any place or just Nova Scotia?
No, in any place. We're gonna move on to Nova Scotia.
I know. I think probably the time we went to the Six Flags Park near us in Montreal during Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We went there so many times. It's not just once.
Yeah.
Yes, but during Halloween is my favorite time. We've done that twice.
Yeah, the Six Flags in Montreal has their Fright Fest, and most of the Six Flags do, possibly all. But that's a really cool time to go, because why don't you actually talk about what you liked about that? Because I know that you have some elements of that time that you really enjoy.
Yeah. So there was this haunted house that my mom and I went to, which I really enjoyed. It wasn't actually as scary as I had hoped, but I still had lots of fun. And there was also a walkthrough haunt, which was one of my other favorite parts.
When she says it wasn't scary, she means any normal person would be jumping out of their shoes.
Yeah. So turn the phone to me for a second. I'm going to tell a fun story from going to that. Like, I'm taking little kids to these scary Halloween events because they've been in horror movies. We do lots of special effects makeup at home. They know that it's just pretend and it's fun, and we run our own. My 2 favorite elements of Fright Fest at Six Flags, it's La Ronde. La Ronde is actually Six Flags Park, La Ronde in Montreal. So my 2 favorite elements is the outdoor walkthrough that Lily mentioned, is a zombie walkthrough, and their special effects makeup is stellar. And they've got some good actors there. So I mean, it's like being inside of a horror movie, which was fine for my kids, but Lily's favorite thing to do there was laugh maniacally at the teenagers who were running and screaming. Awesome. So that was a lot of fun for me. And then there's another really cool spot where they have this big winged demon who comes out and sits on a throne for you to come get pictures with him. It's like going to get your picture with Santa, except with a demon. It's so weird and so awesome. But I mean, all of it is great. They have roving actors with chainsaws and all sorts of other things. They have a whole bunch of haunts that you can walk through, plus all of these individual elements. So if you're going there during the Halloween season, after dark is when this happens. So you can go to the park during the day. As soon as the sun goes down, the scares come out. So that's a pretty cool thing to do. So what about you, Rosie? Why don't you pass the phone on to Rosie, and you can tell us what your favorite amusement park adventure has been of all the ones that we've been to.
Well, there's certainly been some interesting adventures. Like, a lot of them were fun, but I think one of my favorite amusement parks, although I didn't get to go on some of the rides because I felt very sick from motion sickness. I really liked Carowinds. We went there just like a couple weeks ago, and I think Dahlia actually has the same opinion as me. But yeah, it was really fun. I like that one a lot. We also met some people and hung out there. There's some cool bumper cars, and there's North America's, like, what was it, tallest or longest roller coaster? Largest. Internet's cutting out. Oh, I actually didn't get to go on it, but it looks really fun.
What about you, Delia?
I have the same opinion for that park. I actually ended up going on that one though. It was so fun. I think another one. I don't know. Since she said that one, I think the Six Flags park was also really cool. I did have a funny experience with that though. I went on the carousel thing to get away from the zombies because I was scared. It was funny.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Mama, now that I think about it, although we haven't been there with you many times, we have been to Canada's Wonderland, which is also a really fun experience.
Of course, yes, you go there with your dad, and that is a great park too. Yeah,
We go there like every year.
that's awesome. Yeah, so I know I've talked about this before, and I will continue to talk about it because it's one of my favorite places. If I had to choose a favorite, I'm still going with Diggerland. It doesn't have a lot of like huge rides or anything, but everything there is construction themed. So it's either actual construction vehicles that you operate as a ride, or big construction vehicles that have like seats welded to them to make it into an amusement ride. It's so bizarre and so awesome. We actually bought tickets years ago because Dahlia, when she was littler, was obsessed with construction equipment. So we bought tickets for her for Christmas and then went the following spring. So Diggerland, very, very high up on my list. In fact, if I had the money right this second, I would open a Diggerland franchise here. That's how much I love it. So I think one of the things that we do as a family a lot, which now is going to get a little different because the girls are trying out school in September, but we've homeschooled historically, so we do a lot of traveling to learn things. Like a lot of our science, a lot of our geography, even some of our history, a lot of that is done by going places and doing things. So I think that would be a fun thing to talk about now that we're wrapping up the homeschool adventure for now. What are your favorite homeschooling travel memories? We do a lot of road schooling. What stands out to you?
Well, I think the time that we went and did school there was probably my favorite time because I got to go on fun rides and be at an amusement park, but also learn things.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, so what she's talking about is all the Six Flags parks, they have education days. So the schools can sign up and go, and homeschoolers can't too, but the schools can sign up and go for the day. They give you a booklet that has all sorts of math and physics problems, and you have to do these as you go through the park. And so we were going to Six Flags. We couldn't make it for their education day, so I just emailed and asked if they could send me the packet because we homeschooled and we wanted to do some school while we were there, and they sent it along to me, and that was fantastic. But I think I've told this story on here before, but it's funny enough that I'm going to tell it again for those who haven't been here for it. We did get a lot of dirty looks that day because it was a weekday, and we're standing in line having the kids doing math problems, and the lady in front of us just was glaring at me like I was the worst person ever. Now what she didn't know is that we had a whole entire day where we didn't do any school, a few days before. But it's if you're planning to travel and do school on the go, be prepared for some dirty looks that happens from time to time. What about you, Rosie? What's your favorite travel schooling memory?
So, it's not something that's heavily focused on, but I really liked that one time where we went to the U.S. and spent time homeschooling and going to the butterfly, what's it called?
Oh, the Butterfly Resort.
Yeah,
Yes,
the Butterfly Resort.
Yeah.
Although it is a bit pricey, it was so fun. And after that, we went to a place with observatories, and we got to go gem digging. It was a great adventure. I really liked that time.
Yeah, that was
That
a
was
great
fun.
trip. Yeah. I love our May trips. We went to do There's so many
I
suggestions.
have no clue for this one.
We've done a lot of things.
Yeah, we have.
What's your favorite museum then? Because those are like on the road things. We've seen a lot of museums.
Probably any of the science ones. They're all amazing.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites is actually like the Children's Museum. Like,
Oh, the one in London?
yeah,
Yeah.
the
That,
one with a bunch of hands-on stuff.
yes. Yes.
Like that one's really fun.
The children's museums are great for that, right? Because the whole point is to immerse kids in learning science. So yeah, I support other things too, but I really like children's.
Back to this one. The one that I went on my trip with you was so fun too.
That was awesome. We actually learned a lot there. We learned a lot about Acadian history and culture, so that was pretty.
And also a museum that we haven't talked about in a while, a really good one, is the ROM.
Oh yes, of course.
I bought season passes to there a couple years back, and it's just a really fun place that we haven't gone in a while.
Yeah, we were actually just thinking about renewing our membership. It's the ROM is amazing. Right? I can't imagine anyone who lives in Ontario hasn't been there yet. But if you haven't, go to the ROM. It's you could spend days there and still not see everything. And they do have a lot of sections with hands-on things. They often have Dawson Soap like doing. There's a lot of cool things to see there. And pro tip: if you don't live in Toronto, you can actually get a cheaper membership. So they have an out-of-town membership that's considerably cheaper than buying the regular membership. If you don't live in Toronto and you're going to buy your membership to the ROM, ask about that.
Plus, don't they have a great reciprocal agreement with many other museums?
They do, but that's at a higher tier. But the science centers have a phenomenal reciprocal agreement. I think they have almost 400 science centers and museums in this reciprocal agreement now. So, for example, we have our passes to Ingenium, which is 3 museums here in Ottawa. But that pass gives us access to hundreds of other science centers. So anytime we go anywhere, we look up what places are on that list so that we can make use of our pass. So we've actually used our science center pass outside of our hometown way more than we have inside of our hometown. And when you break it down, the family membership is cheap enough that with all the times that we used our membership, it was probably costing us less than $1 per person to go to the museum, which is insane when you think about it. Yeah, so that's definitely a thing to look for when you're traveling. The zoos and aquariums have a reciprocal agreement as well, so you can. It's not giving you 100% off, but it's getting close. The nature museums also have a similar one, so it's pretty awesome to be able to use those interchangeably wherever you go. Especially good for like world schooling families. I know we have some families that follow us that are world schoolers, and it makes a huge difference. So we're not going to have a long show today because we're on the road, and I know exactly when we're going to lose service. But I do have one more question for you guys, and I think it's an important one. What do you think people can learn from traveling, from adventure? What do you think are the benefits of doing?
I'm sure.
As an idea first, you can pass it along.
Anyone back there?
I didn't hear what you said.
I was wondering what you think can be learned from traveling. Like, what are the benefits of traveling regularly? Since you guys have been traveling constantly your whole entire lives, you are good people to ask this question. So, okay, go ahead, pass it back, and you can look back around.
Okay, well, first of all, you get to visit many different places, and like there's so many things on the road that like something that I also found was fun though was the Paranormal Museum.
Oh yes, that was pretty cool. In North Carolina.
Sorry. Yeah, so I think there's like many museums on the road too, so I feel like you can just learn a lot from it just from road stops. It's very fun.
You're so right. That's mostly what we did on our last trip. We just looked for what was along the road that we could learn from. What about you, Rose?
So for me, I feel like it actually gives you a really good life experience because I have some of my friends that aren't comfortable going a half an hour away from their house without their entire family there for the entire time. So I feel like it actually gives you a lot more feeling of freedom in life. It's really nice to be able to have that more hands-on experience because what you can learn from it really is how to how to have a different way of learning, but also be more adaptive to things. So I feel like it's really good in that sense.
So let's pass the phone up to Lily.
Sorry, it was loading for a second.
Yeah.
I think that if you're traveling regularly, it gives you an opportunity to have a variety of different experiences, which most people don't have the opportunity to do. Plus, it can, building on that, if you have like a variety of experiences regularly, it can make it a lot easier to learn because things get a lot less repetitive.
That's true. I do have another travel related question for you before we wrap up, Lily, because I know that we have some travel coming up that you are really looking forward to. So why don't you tell everyone about WBC?
Oh, yes.
The rest of you can say things about it too.
Yeah,
but Lily
yes.
is so passionate about this.
WBC is like the best vacation spot. It's short for World Board Game Convention.
Championships.
Sorry, championships, yes. And it has extremely large variety of board games you can play in tournament. Plus, there's even an open gaming room where you can play any games you want with whoever you want. On top of that, it's at a great resort. It's called Seven Springs Resort, which is actually a ski resort and has tons of fun activities like rock climbing, summer tubing, alpine slides, and tons of other stuff.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to add about WBC? Because that is coming up soon, and I know we're all really excited about it.
I am really excited because we just keep on recruiting people for it. So we're gonna have a lot of friends coming. So it's gonna be a great experience to spend time with people we love. And also there's ice cream, and I like ice cream and arcades. So there's also an indoor and outdoor swimming pool, which I feel like is not there's not enough of that. So that's great. And of course, board games, lots of board games, all the board games.
Do you have anything to add, Delia?
Well, I really like meeting up with my friends that also live in the U.S. because it's really nice to see them, even if it's just once in a while.
Yeah, it's a good reunion.
Yeah, and as she said, there's ice cream and pizza and all that good stuff. Yeah.
It is pretty awesome. Yeah. All right, well, pass that up, and I'm going to tell you my favorite thing about WBC that hasn't been mentioned yet, and that is, can you guess, Lily? Do you know what it is?
But
The auction store.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So we have a giant board game collection. Somewhere between 11 and 1,200 board games now, I think. We really like our games. But the reason we're able to do that is because we don't typically buy games new. We buy them all secondhand. And because we have so many games, we're not ever in any rush to get a brand new game that looks great, because in a year or two, someone will get sick of it and sell it for half price. So at WBC, there's what they call the auction store. And people bring their games that they want to get rid of, and they set a price for 9 o'clock when it opens, another price for 11 o'clock, and then another price for 1 o'clock. And you can go, the prices drop, incrementally, and you can go in and buy games all day. And so typically what I do is go in and ahead of time, I'll sort of scout out like which games I really want to run too quickly so no one else gets them. And those are the ones I'm willing to pay full price for. And then I come back around at the 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock slots to see if there's anything else interesting. So some of our neat little games that we really love, like Sunday Split, I bought for $1 or $2 at the auction store. So that is my favorite part of WBC that hasn't been mentioned by any of the kids. The other things are awesome too. But I really like getting new games, and I like getting new games for cheap. So we typically come home from WBC with 60 or so new games every year, which is kind of awesome. So we're about to our location, and I think that we've covered a lot of excellent memories, and lots more to be made, of course. But I would love to hear in the comments for anybody who's watching, and I'll go back and take a look at them later, any of your favorite travel memories. Do you have a place that you really love to go? Do you have a travel memory from your childhood that just makes you happy when you think about it? I want to hear those things. If you haven't already connected with me and you're watching this now, feel free to reach out. We can talk about travel, we can talk about life, we can talk about goals. I like to connect with people, and I would love to hear from you. And of course, if you have time, go ahead and follow Connect TV. If you haven't gone and found me on social media, on everywhere, I'm on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, all at Adventure Seeker Sarah. You can go find me on A Canada Travel, where I'm an A Canada Travel adventure seeker and write about my experiences in Canada. And you can also join that platform yourself and upload your own travel photos and travel stories, which is pretty awesome, and interact with the community there. You can go find thatbeerthing.ca and follow all of our beer-related adventures. So my partner Josh and I, we write about beer. He goes and does fun things with his wife Jen. She doesn't like beer, but he drinks beer and he writes about it. Sometimes we go out and try new beer together, and we have some new and exciting things coming down the line. So keep watch there if you're a beer person, and also if you're from Nova Scotia or interested in things that go on in Nova Scotia, I write on Nova Scotia Buzz. So you can go follow Nova Scotia Buzz on Facebook. And if you are a fan of the spooky, go find Class A Paranormal on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. That's the paranormal investigation team I'm part of. And I'm sure I've forgotten a dozen other things that you should probably follow, but there's your task for today. So until next time, happy adventuring.